Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Hot Topics in Texas Digital Higher Education. Today, our topic is serving underserved students with online learning, and I really appreciate everyone joining us today. I am Judith Sebesta, and I serve as the Executive Director of the Digital Higher Education Consortium of Texas. Just a little housekeeping before we start. This webinar will be recorded, archived, and available on the Digitex YouTube channel. We'll send out a link to that video to all of those who registered and participated. And we also will be sending out a link to a very brief webinar evaluation form so that we can get some feedback from you in order to improve these webinars for you moving forward. So thanks for taking the time to fill that out once you receive the link to that. I also would like to thank Chris Tashima from Captain Sync for providing the live closed captioning for today. Thank you very much, Chris and Caption Sync. Please, if you can, stay on mute and use the chat box for any questions that you have, and we'll be monitoring it along the way. We'll probably save most of the questions for after the presentations, but if there's something that seems particularly urgent or pertinent at the moment, I'll jump in and see if we can ask our presenters those questions at the time. Otherwise, we'll try to get to as many as we can after the presentations today. Now more than ever, inclusive strategies to serve a wide range of students is imperative. Community colleges are particularly adept, at finding innovative ways to serve underserved students, including but not limited to minority, first generation, low income, disabled, working adults, and parents. Today, our speakers will share a range of strategies for serving these students and others. We'll start today with Kim Clark, District Director of E-Learning Services at Howard College and Southwest College for the Deaf. She will discuss reaching deaf students through video and ASL. Let me just take a moment to change sharing here so she can share her screen. And Kim, you should be able to share your screen now. Oh, I can't hear you. Just need to unmute yourself. Sometimes there's a bit of a lag with that, Kim, so I double check the setting. You should be able to share it. Oh, not allowing to unmute. Hang on one second.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for your patience, Kim, and everybody else.
It's all right. So let me share my screen.
There we go. We can see it just fine, Kim.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, good deal. I'm glad you can, because when I switched to the slideshow, there we go. Can everybody see the first page? We're good? Yeah. Okay, great. I'd like to thank everybody for coming in and popping in and for your interest in serving our students who for whatever reason are sometimes out of the loop, so to speak. But I don't know if all of you are aware, but Howard College has a campus, and it is the Southwest College for the Deaf It is the only full-service college for the deaf and hard of hearing in the U.S. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the importance of direct communication via video conference through Digitex. Okay, SWCD's primary purpose is, we call it SWCD for short, Southwest College for the Deaf. So when I say SWCD, you all know what I'm talking about. But its primary goal was to provide a comprehensive, immersive type environment to the deaf and hard of hearing so that they can achieve their life goals. Our faculty, most of our faculty and staff are deaf as well as all of the students. So as you can imagine, it's a very small number of students, but they get a very immersed environment where they can be themselves, where they can not have to have I don't want to call an interpreter a crutch to rely on, but without having to have an interpreter in their classes. They go to class, they attend, their instructor is teaching them using their native sign, which is American Sign Language. Some of them come to us with a different type of sign language that they've learned along the way, but they take our American Sign Language courses from our deaf instructors, and it's like you and I going to college class and understanding without any aid whatsoever. That is what they get at SWCD. So our goal for SWCD was to reach out to other deaf students attending other colleges across the state through video conference and provide them the same opportunity to take different courses using sign language without the need of an interpreter. So, but it was designed to be a self-contained community college, and the contrast with post-secondary deaf education environments, they're typically accompanied by an interpreter. So at SWCD and through the video conference courses, the interpreter is not needed. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in depth in just a moment. But we're able to do this because of all the technological advances that we've gone through over the last few years. The technology is much better. Technology being what it is, even though you have really good technology, you can't control everybody's technology in a connection. So in my opinion, and through the experiences we've had, is the technology 100%? Is it perfect? No, it's not. But with proper constant communication with the students and their representatives at their home institutions, we are able to form a very tight technology support safety net. And we have both colleges sign an agreement that we're going to support those students. So really support is that safety net. And so we try to make that our foundation, and we build off of that. Studies show that the deaf and hard of hearing students, they learn more quickly when they are receiving the information in their native visual language. So, you know, typical students, you and I go into a class, studies show that we understand 85 to 90% of a college lecture, but when deaf students attend those same classes or lectures with an interpreter, they're only getting about 60 to 75% of the content. They're only understanding about that much. So that's a significant degradation, you know, in what they're able to understand compared to what those who are not deaf would understand. They can learn through an interpreter, but providing an interpreter doesn't provide complete or full access to all the information in the same timely manner like you and I would receive. And that's what universal design is all about. You know, we've been studying a lot about that in our accessibility courses and whatnot, but everyone should be able to receive the same information in the same amount of time. So that was part of our goal in trying to make this available to students taking classes at deaf students at other colleges. You know, we think about visual communication and how vital it is to a comprehension, but you know, if you look at this in your hands statement by a deaf chemistry instructor, he says, "But suddenly this girl began to sign, the words like magic flowing from her hand. The joy I felt was headier than wine, for she could sign and I could understand. How quickly all the barriers came down. Soon we had both forgotten how to frown." So if you think about it in that perspective, you know, you get the idea of, you know, what it must feel like to a deaf student attending a lecture and having to have an interpreter with them and maybe getting 60% of what everybody else is getting 80 to 90% of. You know, it just really brings it home to us. Mainstream versus direct communication. When I say direct communication, I'm talking about that instruction being provided through sign language. But SWCD was founded to provide a unique learning environment for deaf and hard of hearing students. You know, when students are attending a lecture with an interpreter, it's like they're not whole. We're saying, without this, you won't be able to take this course. Without an interpreter, you would not be able to take this course. Well, SWCD's whole purpose is to provide the learning environment to where a student can come and be a student and they don't have to be fixed. There's nothing wrong with them, right? They are in their environment, and that's what SWCD's all about, and that's what they want to start reaching out across Texas to provide to other deaf students. Digitext is an avenue for SWCD to work with other community colleges. We started this path through the Virtual College of Texas, and now with Digitext and Acadian, we are getting ourselves poised to be offering these courses, hopefully starting this fall. And so I want to give you a little bit of a bird's eye view of what this means to the other colleges. This is just a kind of a little average cost breakdown between SWCD, taking courses with SWCD as the teaching institution via, we call it DTEX here at HCU. we felt like Digitex was a real mouthful. We were so used to saying VCT, but anyway, so we call it DTEX. So if I say that, you know what it means now. But due to SWCD's statewide mission and state funding, we're not charging for these courses. So the flat fee that you would pay another college to serve your student, say a math course that you're not offering, I saw some of them are $270. Ours will be zero. The SWCD ones will be zero. We also offer video conference tutoring. It's not just through our video conference technology, it's also through things like Zoom. We can do Zoom, we can do the video phone, we can do Skype, but it would be, you know, ASL, tutoring through ASL. So it would be a deaf tutor with a deaf student. So they would be able to have that tutoring at no cost. Distance learning, video conferencing equipment, and support provided by the home institution. That's referring to the agreement form that we came up with, so that Howard College SWCD and the home institution of your deaf student have an agreement that they are going to go above and beyond to provide the proper support by testing ahead of time, making sure that the lighting is sufficient, that the video quality is there, things like that. And also to make sure that that deaf student understands proficiently American Sign Language. So we have a little pre-assessment set up with one of our deaf instructors that they can take and make sure that they understand ASL before they sign up. So when you compare the zero cost with the need for interpreters, let's say you have 48 contact hours with 2 interpreters at about $50 an hour. That's pretty significant, and it just gets higher from there. I'm sure you can see. Interpreters are not cheap. They are well worth their time and their effort and their skill. But when you put an interpreter in a lecture environment and you're talking about terms specific to your subject that interpreter may not be familiar with, that's a problem. And so even though sometimes we may use interpreters when our SWCD students go to other courses, we give our interpreters access to the course notes ahead of time so that they can practice those terms and understand the definitions and be able to associate those facial expressions with that term appropriately. Because it's all about it's not just the finger sign, it's the facial expression, everything that helps for those students to understand the content. Okay, well, what courses do we offer? Well, in the fall, we are planning to offer Biology 1406, Integrated Reading and Writing, Comp 1 and 2, History 1 and 2, College Algebra, and General Psych is an iffy right now, but the others are pretty down pat. And then in the spring, we would offer, the second session of that. So, but as far as English and history, we offer both semesters. So, and again, the psych is somewhat iffy, but this is the paragraph below is talking about before registering for these courses, interested students must email Jeff Anderson to schedule an ASL language assessment. And that was that pre-assessment I was talking about earlier, because it's very important that they understand American Sign Language. And if they don't, then we can schedule them to take one of our ASL courses over video conference. Even though it's not on the list here, we can make that happen. And then the technical information and test connections can be arranged by contacting the Howard College e-learning department, and that's us. We touched earlier about the tutorial center at SWCD, and they are always available. Those folks, I don't know, they are so into supporting the deaf students. They are just so passionate about the success of their students that, they're willing to meet with those students just however possible. So they'll meet through video phone or video conference or Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, Zoom, Skype, just you name it, they're pretty well versed. And if they don't know it, we'll make sure that they do. So we have IT support at our SWCD campus, and we also help with the video conference support. So they have got several layers of support. Okay. So basically the requirements for institutions who are interested in having their deaf students connect with us for the SWCD courses, they need to be able to connect for the courses, the lectures, and all through video conference. And we can, if you want to reach out and make sure that that's doable, we've done that with home institutions that have only had a web camera, right? And so as long as there is that video, it worked out fine. And actually it was easier for the student on their end because they didn't have a lot to contend with. It's the instructor on our end that has the more technology they've got to worry about and learn, but they are very well versed, and these instructors teach in our video conference rooms even when they're not going distance. So they are very well versed with the technology in their rooms. But again, it just drives home the point that they'll need to email Jeff Anderson. He is actually the professor of our American Sign Language program. So he is our instructor for that. So that's why we've got him assessing those skills ahead of time. And students would need to be TSIA compliant in math for the college algebra, and in reading for the other courses, just like any other. So again, you know, cost comparison for one course, that's pretty stout, but we are very, very passionate about the success of the deaf student, and, you know, in helping them to reach their goals, their life goals. Howard College's motto is learning for, let's see, what is it? Howard College, for learning, for earning, for life. And so that is truly what we mean when we say that. Okay, so if you're interested, what now? Well, we would want you to email Shannon Cresswell at howardcollege.edu. So that's scresswell@howardcollege.edu. And I believe we can get a copy of this PowerPoint to anyone who's interested after the fact. We are happy to work with your technical team to make sure that you've got what would be needed on your side of the fence. And again, strong technical support from both institutions is going to ensure the best possible learning environment. Will there be technical issues from time to time? Absolutely. I don't ever paint that picture that it would be perfect, because we all know it's not. But it can be really good and very rewarding at the same time, as long as we can all work together to make it happen. So that's what I have.
And thank you so much. That was wonderful information. And again, we will be sharing a link to the recording of this so that everyone can have that great, very pragmatic info that you gave in order to participate. So thank you, Kim. And we don't have any questions for you at the moment. So just anything anyone thinks of, put in the chat box, and hopefully we'll have time at the end for Kim to address those. Let me just switch over here to my screen again, and we'll move to our next presenters. So next, Dr. Carlos Morales, President of Tarrant County College, TCC Connect Campus, and his colleague, Dr. David Pierce, Director of Weekend College at TCC Connect, will share information about their accelerated online classes.
Okay.
Carlos,
Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me well?
yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share some of the things that we have been doing at Tarrant. And let's see if we can do this correctly.
Perfect, Carlos, we see it. Thank you.
Can you see a full screen now?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, again, good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to share this afternoon. We will talk about accelerated online classes, the key to student success. And with me this afternoon is David Pierce, Dr. David Pierce, Director of Accelerated Programs at TCC Connect Campus. So right on time, I'm going to provide a couple of milestones or points, if you will, in terms of TCC Connect Campus. We are a fully online campus for Tarrant County College District. We got established in 2014 as a non-traditional campus for non-traditional students. Primarily, the goal was to widen access to higher education to the community college level, and is part of the Vision 2015 strategic plan that the college had at the time. So the result was establishing a new campus. And while TCC had distance education in the past, this campus aimed at supporting and cater students that were in different stages of life, students that didn't have access to education back in the day for different reasons. Now, as an online campus, we see that the flexibility that online provides would be of great service to students. Again, not changing much in terms of their daily lives and maybe the commitments they have, knowing that they manage multiple responsibilities. So back in 2014, as we were creating the campus, while, as I said, while distance education was already present in the college, it wasn't necessarily well organized. It didn't have fully online programs. It had a lot of courses, but no programs. So again, one additional impetus for creating the campus was to develop programs. The two main areas of TCC Connect Campus are e-learning, and this particular slide summarizes that. E-learning is the largest component of our operation. Is 31 fully online programs and certificates, 350 courses. We have approximately 450 faculty members that, again, year in, year out, help us deliver education. And that equates to approximately 20,000 students, the ones that we are serving every semester, not in an annual basis, every semester. The second component, if you will, is weekend college. And weekend college is about 800 students. The program is hybrid and accelerated. And right now we have over 5,000 students that we have assisted. David will be expanding on that aspect as well. Both modalities are supported by student services, online advising, remote proctoring, online tutor, and an online writing center. So again, we made the campus, again, 100% online for supporting those students. If I advance my slide here, this is pretty much the detail that I alluded a few minutes ago in regards to modalities and enrollments. We have two, as I said. You see the figures since fall of 2017 when we started, or actually we had 19,877 students in e-learning, 795 for weekend college, for a total of 20,672 in the fall of 17. Fast forward to fall of 2019, 21,758 students in e-learning and 1,028 students in weekend college for 22,786. So the trajectory of growth at Connect Campus has been relentless and nonstop, as I said, to support the endeavors of non-traditional students in need of a higher education credential. Part of the I guess, success and part of our strategy had to continue to be operating close to the element of a non-traditional college, a non-traditional campus. And we started with 16-week terms, then the weekend college right there with us at 7-week terms. But through time and hearing student needs, hearing about surveys and research, we expanded offerings in what we will call accelerated initiatives. And that's why you see 5-week terms, 4-week terms, and 3-week terms. While these terms are available, they are not for everybody, but we understand that various students are taking advantage of this particular set of terms that we have enabled for them. What you see in the right side are a couple of the initiatives that we have been able to afford to students from the Mini-Mesters, that is a term between the holiday break, very successful with 82% success rate, to high school initiatives in the summer, allowing us to cater to students that are in dual credit, but in Tarrant, there's no dual credit or very limited dual credit offerings in the summer. So we cater to high school students so they can be concurrently enrolled and continue to advance their education. You see other initiatives for summer, for 8-week terms that have been very successful for our college and our students primarily. So, and this is in a you know, a summarized set of initiatives. This is pretty much what we have done since 2014. The operation started in June of 2013, but it's not until August of 14 that we established ourselves as an administrative unit of the college. And those are all the initiatives that have resulted in a high student success, progression of student success, high enrollments, and many of the activities that we have been able to advance for our constituents. These are some of those enrollments that I mentioned before in regards to the wintermester. We have the figures until this past wintermester of 2020, and you see the trajectory since 2017, the first year that we started those. You see the success rate and you see the persistence rate for each of those terms. It has been very, very successful for our students. So the most recent is at 84.3% success rate for our students. I will transfer the microphone to Dr. Pierce. Dr. Pierce, you can take it away. You want me to control the presentation from here?
Yes, you can control it from there. Okay.
All right.
So, and that way you can tell me if I'm not talking fast enough or whatever.
Sure.
Okay. So just a little bit of background is that I just finished my dissertation and defended it in November, and finished everything I needed to do with publication and all that things. You have to do that in February, and actually got the first transcript of it on the 16th, no, on the 9th, whatever it was, the 9th, yeah, the 9th of May. Of course, all the graduation got canceled, but so I'm walking around the house with my cap and gown on. So anyway, part of what I was doing was trying to do success in accelerated programs. So this is kind of the background here. We have found out that about 37.7% of students in the United States actually are going to complete their associate's degree. And that is kind of bad news. Why are these people not finishing? The Texas Community College, we have 732,000 students that show historical data of 33.5% of these people actually completing their associate's degree. That's nice, but what about the other 65%, et cetera? Okay, next slide. So many reasons exist, and there are tons of reasons. You know, it can be that the personal, I have to go to work, I have a family to support, the classes are too hard, I wasn't ready, life happened, COVID happened, you know, I mean, all these things that can happen. So there's a lot of intrinsic and extrinsic effects that can be happening there that can, but one of the things that I thought about was, are these people getting too bored? Are these classes too long? So what if we can find a methodology and a modality that would offer the greatest success? So that was the basis of my dissertation, was finding the methodology and modality that offered the greatest. Okay, next. So we also have what's called the 60 by 30 that I think all of you should know about. That says the state of Texas says 60% of the Texans will have a certificate or degree by 2030. Increase in technology increases forms of education delivery. And one of the things we've talked about for a long time is the course length. Why is there a certain course length assigned that we've been stuck with for 100 years? Okay, next. So how long should a class be? Now, one of the things that I was looking for in research was to ask the question, why 15 or 16 weeks? Who came up with that idea? And really what I found out was no one could actually tell me where it came from. There was a bunch of people at Carnegie that got together in the early 1900s and they said, you know, I think 16 weeks, like 3 times a week would kind of be pretty good. And, so I looked, and you have to remember this is a dissertation. So I did a lot of intensive research on this, and I could not find anybody who said this is the exact perfect way to deliver courses in a 15 or 16 week. And typically we do 15 weeks during the spring because of spring break, 16 weeks during the fall. Again, why? What makes a difference there? And so the question was, is there any literature to support the benefits? Is there any literature that says we should change this? Does course length even matter? Okay, next slide. So during our current course offerings, we have different lengths. We offer courses in hybrid, online, blended, face-to-face, and competency-based. Now, just so you understand the difference in hybrid and blended, a hybrid class is going to be 15 to 50% online, and a blended will be 50 to 85% online. More than 85%, more than 85% face-to-face. Yeah, more than 85% makes it a face-to-face class, 85%. Online is 15% or less. So there's also competency-based. Now, TCC has offered, and Dr. Mouse was showing you there, 3-week, 4-week, 5-week, 6-week, 7-week, 8-week, 10-week, 12-week, 14-week, 15 and 16. So what is the best? Okay, go ahead, Dr. Mouse. There was a guy who decided to do some research, and his name was Georgi Lozanov, and he came up with this idea of suggestology, and this was a term that he did in 1978, that just said, when you learn something, you learn it. It doesn't really make any difference how long it takes you to do it. Suggestive alternative learning theory is what he came up with. And he talked about demechanizing this thing and make it a whole body, whole person experience and bringing it in. And there was really no excuse why anything had to be a certain course length. Okay, go ahead. So how accelerated is too accelerated? So a thought among academic scholars is accelerated may be less effective than a full-length course, but we're showing that they're predominantly equal or superior to regular course lengths. In addition, the students and the faculty are more satisfied. There's a higher retention rate with accelerated classes than during the traditional classes. This is also because they're less likely to disenroll during this time, during these long length courses. In 16 weeks, you have a long time to think about, am I really going to make it through this course or not? Okay, next slide. So we were looking at the Mini-Mesters, and the Mini-Mesters said we have almost 90% success rate in our December and May, and Dr. Morales showed that slide earlier. And the question was why? And the thought is maybe there's a lot of college, university students who are coming in, taking the class. Maybe there's a lot of people who are visiting their parents and they don't have anything else to do. They're just home for the holidays, so they decide to take a course, and a very, very high success rate on this. Go ahead, Dr. Mouse. So we decided that what we would do is we would start the accelerated monthly start program. And this was going to be the perfect plan designed to complete one course a month, 100% online, 20 months, because 20 courses for an associate's degree. We have a predetermined course sequence, pre-enrollment, perfect plan, right? Isn't that just perfect as can be? Go ahead. We had nothing that was happening. There was no advisement. It was an open enrollment, and we offered core curriculum courses. I mean, how simple can this be, right? Okay, go ahead. And we had a 59% pass rate. And we said 62%, 15% withdrawal rate. Enrollment went, excuse me, well, what happened here? Oh my gosh. And Dr. Morales looked at me and said, David, you're the director of accelerated programs, fix this. And I said, of course, that's just what I do. I said, okay, next slide, okay. So I said, what is wrong with this? Why do we have a high failure rate? Why do we have such a high withdrawal rate? What is this about? Okay, next slide. And I said, here's what we need to do. We need to tell the students, do you know what you're signing up for here? Because I think that what the issue here is not so much how fast the course they're getting, but I think they don't even realize it. They're going through with this open enrollment and they'll say, I'm taking 2 16-week courses, 2 8-week courses, and oh, look, here's a government class for 4 weeks. I can knock that off real quickly. Well, in 4 weeks, that means you're doing midterm in 2 and you're doing final in 4. You're doing all the same homework. And I think people just look at it and went, oh my God, what was this about? And I said, Dr. Miles, give me a chance here. I want to talk to every one of these students. And I know I'm talking 30 classes at 30 students each. That's 900 seats, not counting the thousands of people who call after the class is already closed. And they call and ask about the class. And I said, okay, do you know what you're getting yourself into? Are you sure you can do this? And a lot of students turned around and said, oh, no, I didn't realize that. No, I didn't. I just saw the course and I thought, oh, it starts on this date. And they didn't look at the end date that it was only a 4-week class. So what we did is we stopped the open enrollment. Everybody must call me. Every student one-on-one advised, yes, I did talk to thousands of students. Permission was granted for their enrollment and they must be TSI compliant in all areas. So now all of a sudden we have qualified students who are getting in these classes. Did that make a difference, Dr. Morales?
Yes, it did.
Okay, next slide.
Right here.
Here's what happened after we started converting and talking to these people. We ended up going to a 79% pass rate, 72% pass rate. Withdrawal dropped to 6, dropped to 9.9. Did it make a difference? I think that it did. Okay, next slide. So here, so you can look at the spring to spring comparison. You can see the total enrollments and then the fall to fall comparison. And you can see what happened with when we started advising these students one-on-one, face-to-face. Okay, next.
Just very quickly, the numbers at times you see that there is a decrease, but it's better to have quality enrollments than, enrollments that are, failing, if you will.
Well, and remember that I was talking about these students would just pick a class without even knowing what they were doing. Right. So the down in enrollment in numbers is, like Dr. Miles says, it's actually better because these people were actually looking at it and saying, oh, well, maybe I can't do this. Okay. Here's a year-to-year comparison rate, so you can kind of get an idea. Our success rate went from 60.9 to 75. Our withdrawal rate went from 14 to 8. Our enrollment also went up. And all it was a phone call, making them call in and talk to me. Okay, next. So the logical conclusion, ensuring students are aware of the intensity of accelerated monthly start class is effective strategy, has many applications, further advising of students, especially in degree planning and pathways. Okay, next. So is that the answer? Well, no, it's not the answer. Wouldn't it be nice if that was the answer? My dissertation would have been done a lot quicker if that was the correct answer. Okay, next slide. So what we need to do is we got to make sure that we have 3 things, the 3 components, and this is what's made our weekend college so successful. We have to have the right faculty, we have to have the right students, and we have to have the right administrator that's going to be handling the program. Okay, next slide. Am I talking fast enough? Okay. So to be successful, our faculty need to be trained in accelerated delivery methods. I always say, have you taught a summer school before? That's good. Those are all 5- and 6-week classes. Do you have classroom experience? That's great. But a lot of classroom instructors love to hear their voice. They don't know when to cut it off, kind of like what I'm doing now. Online people, a lot of times they don't have a personality to be able to talk to a face-to-face student, so they get kind of confused with that. So, so a mixture. Do you have classroom and online experience with summer class? That's a trifecta. If you have experience that, you're going to be a very successful instructor in this course. Okay, next. For the students, they got to be screened before placement. We have to make sure that they know what they're getting themselves into. They need to be college ready. They need to be self-motivated. They need to be computer pros. When you're signing up for an online course, it's not the time to say which one's the mouse and which one's the keyboard. Okay, you better know that by now. You better know how to format a Word document and how to upload something. Okay, next. And the administrator, you need a director, advisor, counselor, problem solver, administrator, janitor. Yeah, just put them all inside there. Excuse me, let me do. That's the problem when I have my phone going on my computer. You need someone to be the face of the program. You have to aggressively advise the students. You need to visit with the students regularly, push them towards graduation, frequent degree audits. Now that's what our weekend college does, because we meet for 1 day a week for 7 weeks. And during that time that we're together, it's an hour and a half per class for 2 classes. I meet with them and I talk to them and say, where are you going? What are you doing? How are you doing this? Where's your plan? How quickly? I said, my goal is to get rid of you. Okay, I mean, in a good way. I want to get rid of you. I want to see you graduate. I want to see you move on to university. I want to see you finish. I want to see you finish this program. So all the students, the 800 students, they know me because I talk to them every week and see how they're doing. All the instructors know, oh, here comes Mr. Pierce again. Well, now it's Dr. Pierce. Here comes Dr. Pierce in the classroom now that he's actually can talk to the students and tell them a little bit more about the program. Okay, next. So how do we do this? We set them out a plan that gives them an idea of how they're going to go through this. We don't deviate from this plan. Now, this was done with intention. What we do is the very first semester you're with us, we're going to give you English and history followed by English and history. Now we do that because English is going to teach you how to write. It's going to say what fonts do I use, what margins do I use, what spacing do I use, how to cite a text, how do I reference something, how do I organize my paper, how do I organize my thoughts. History has tons of reading in it. So when they get done with English and history followed by English and history, they now know how to read and write at the college level, which makes them very successful for every other class they're going to take. And it's been working out really, really well for us. Geology has been the best class we can use in accelerated format. Now, I've got a medical background. I've been a paramedic for 34 years. I know pretty much about A&P and biology. I would not want to do one of those in accelerated class. That's called brain death. You know, I would rather not do that at all. So our Friday night class meets from 5 until 10. Between 5 and 6, we do a student development workshop with them. What's my learning style? How do I take notes? What does 1301 mean anyway? How do I transfer to university? We teach them college talk. We teach them about how to fill out their FAFSA form. So we spend time with them. It's a voluntary thing. We don't even take roll. They come in. If you get off work at 5, you have to be there at 5:20. Come on in. You're going to learn something. On Saturday, they meet between 9 and 2. This is a different cohort, 9 and 2. In the first class between 9 and 11, we do an hour of their student development between 11 and 12, and their second class is from 12 to 2. So, okay, next.
One additional element, as David indicated, you see here the degree plan, but the students always know when they start and when they finish. They see, if I can direct your attention to the first semester here, students take the first 7 weeks, but they are pre-enrolled to the second 7 weeks. So they always know what the next set of classes they will take. So that removes the exploration, what we call exploration of the college catalog, and they will only take the courses that matter to them and the courses that will make them compliant to graduate with the associates in 24 months or less.
18 months or less.
I'm sorry, 18 months or less, yes.
And so here's what I do. I tell the students, if you walk into any college classroom in the United States and you ask a student, when are you going to graduate? They're typically going to say, it depends on whether the class is available. Are there any seats available? Is my schedule okay? Can I get in there? What are the prereqs to get in this class? Can I do, and if everything works out, then maybe I'll graduate in whatever. You walk into a weekend college class and talk to one of my students, they're going to say, I'm taking this semester, this next semester, and I graduate May 19th of 2021. They know that, they have it down, they have it on their paper, they know their plan. It's basically the pathways. They know exactly what they're going to do and how they're going to get there and how they're going to get through that. Okay, so basically a recap on that. Accelerated method, screen before placement, and someone who's involved with administration on that. Okay. Dissertation findings. Now, my dissertation is actually the effects of student success for English Composition 1, offered in various modalities and course lengths. Now, because we had so many, as I told you about, 3, 4, 5, 10, all those different, what I did was I took English 1301, which is the only course required of every associate's degree. Now, all students are required to take math, but they can take statistics or algebra or contemporary math or something. English 1 is the only course that everybody has to take for an associate degree. So I compared the length between an 8-week and a 16-week, and I compared between online, face-to-face, and hybrid classes, and tried to come up with my dissertation findings on that one. And we found out the question number 1 was, is there a relationship between the modality of lecture? And what we found out, there really was not much. The reality of it is in a short class, there was a little bit higher success rate in a face-to-face, followed by hybrid, followed by online. The numbers were not significant to make a statement about it. And you understand that if you've done statistics, they were not significant enough to make a difference of this. However, the next one, dissertation question, research question, was, is there a relationship between class duration? Yes, there was a significant improvement on graduation and success of the class, continuing the class, and basically finished in the class. Student completion rates were also noted to be higher. So the 8-week definitely was proved to be more successful than the 16-week course for English. Okay, next. And conclusions, their higher success rate as long as students prepared for this modality. Now, we also know that we can't fit this to everything, and that's one of the things in your dissertation is saying that, you know, can this apply across the board? We know that science courses are going to take longer. We know that math classes, hands-on laboratories could be negatively affected by this, where you have to do hands-on. But anything like a history, a government, a speech, or things like that could probably fit in this format pretty well, and it has done for us. But that's future research, maybe for somebody else's doctorate program. Okay, next. Is there a perfect course modality methodology? Not for every course. We may never know what is exactly best for every course. As technology changes, our students change. Our goal is to keep up with them. There you go, Dr. Morales.
All right. Thank you, David. Again, in a nutshell, this is what we have been able to do to support students in accelerated environments. Again, this is the summary of pretty much 7 years of work. And the good thing is that we have research at both ends. At the beginning, you know, which led to the creation of Weekend College, and of course at the end with Dr. Pierce's dissertation focusing specifically on a particular course in accelerated mode. Again, this is what we have been able to do for our students. Again, the constituents are very, very unique, if you will, in the area of Fort Worth. Certainly there are other things that are not so unique that can be replicated in other locations, but we have found great success in this modality with these offerings. Again, you saw the enrollments. Students have been able to not only complete the degree that fast, but at the same time, go and transfer and apply that knowledge to a workplace or to a 4-year institution. That quickly has been the experience we have accounted for with students. So I guess with that said, we can entertain some questions.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Morales and Dr. Pierce, for sharing information about these incredible innovative programs. And David, congratulations on finishing your doctorate. Well done.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're looking at hopefully an August graduation now. Who knows?
You can really empathize with a lot of students then being in the
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We were doing a visual, what you call a virtual graduation, right? The ceremony and speakers and stuff. And I thought, yeah, well, they should have done that for me too, but they didn't, you know, so.
Strange times we're living in, isn't it true? Well, we've got about 5 minutes for questions, and it looks like Kim has, oh wait, Linda commented, Linda Reed, that her college is moving to 8-week as much as possible, I guess soon, to give students that kind of flexibility that they might need. And Kim is asking, you changed the way you charge tuition for the weekend courses.
Yeah, weekend courses are exactly the same as every other course. We charge the same for those. Let me just clarify 7 versus 8, just because it doesn't really make much difference. The difference was we decided that our first semester we would do 8-week courses, and we ended up starting on Labor Day weekend and finishing on the Friday after everybody went on Christmas vacation, and said, this can't work. We have to condense that. So we actually have students there when all the faculty are there. So that's why it got converted to 7 weeks.
I want to, I'm sorry, if I can say this, I want to recognize Dr. Pam Quinn, which is our interim Vice President of Academic Affairs. She's in the audience, and I saw she has a question as well. So Judith.
Yeah, Pam, so glad you joined us. Pam asked, how were students screened to get into the weekend college?
David.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. How was what?
How were students screened to get into the weekend college?
Typically, they talk to an advisor, and it could be an advisor from any campus. And then the secret question is they say, I just want to get in. I want to get out as quickly as possible. And they have me on speed dial. They go, you need to talk to David. Okay, so they contact me. That you must be TSI in reading and writing. Now I will let you slide on your math, because you can still be in developmental math and not have to take your math class until maybe the 3rd semester. So as long as you're TSI in reading and writing, we'll let you into the class. Again, we talk to them about their commitment to being in class every week, that it is a commitment, you will be there. I got to tell you, the instructors love it and the students really love it, because it's not just some voice in a box somewhere. They actually sit down and talk to their instructor every week, and they get that interaction, they get that one-on-one, and they realize their instructor is a real human being, and it's been very successful program through the weekend college. So the screening, typically they hear about it, they will talk to an advisor, and then they will come and be forwarded to me, and then so I screen them through their TSI.
Well, I'd like to thank all of our presenters today, Kim, Carlos, David. I know everyone is so busy right now, so thanks to you as well as to everyone who has joined us today. And remember, we will be sending out a link to the recording to everyone, as well as a link to a very brief, because I know you're busy, evaluation form to give us a little feedback. And just to let you know, next up in the Digitex Hot Topics webinar series, we're going to be doing a webinar on open education. Open Texas state initiatives to support OER in higher education. So please save the date on July 15th at 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time. We're going to have Kyla Torrey, Program Director, Academic Quality and Workforce for the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, talk about state programs, including their faculty grant program and the OER portal that they're developing. And Carrie Gitz, the head librarian and library services OER team leader at Austin Community College, is going to talk about Texas Learn OER, which are a series of training modules that Digitex has commissioned from her that are going to be open to all in Texas and beyond. And she'll be able to provide a demo of that training. So please save the date and join us for that webinar in July. And meanwhile, everyone, try to find a little time to breathe here in between your terms and semesters. I know there's not much, especially if you're doing Mini-Mesters and weekend colleges, but thanks again to everyone for joining us, and please do take good care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judith.
Thank you.